Hello, guys. Welcome to this session. My name is Wario. I work as a cloud solution architect at Microsoft, focusing on Power Platform and Copilot Studio. And today I will quickly take you through Purview controls for agent governance. And to make this clear, with agent governance, I mean Copilot, Copilot Studio, and in cases we can also cover ChatGPT, which is an enterprise AI application in this context of Purview. So without wasting any time, let's just go to Purview controls for Copilot governance. So e-discovery, what does e-discovery do in this context? E-discovery, it gives you as an organization the opportunity to identify, preserve, analyze, and review, also an export, of course, Copilot interaction and associated context. How do you do this? Actually, the user's mailbox is used to save the Copilot prompts and the responses, and this is also classified as customer data. So you have this data, you can you can search for this data in a query, and in this query, you will use the user's mailbox in the search query, and you will get these answers. So without wasting any time, let's create a search. So over to Purview and yeah, maximize productivity with Security Copilot. Of course, use Security Copilot. I tried it; it's really good. So let's look at the solutions here. We do have the different solutions on the left here, and if you want to use e-discovery, you just choose this one, and then you have the overview, you have the cases, and content search. Today's focus is on content search, and to get the right content, you actually need to. Sorry, go back here. Error, of course, a little bit. Let's see there. And what I can do here now is content search. You see, I already have created a content search. This was for Copilot, and I actually used the system administrator's email to see all. Yeah, sender author is the system administrator. So if you want to create a new search, so Copilot, this will take a while. Studio or just Copilot and create. Once this is created, you will notice that, you see, you will actually notice that, yeah, so the keywords, and to get this actually to go through, you have to do the keyword search with let's see, the keyword search has to, yeah, so instead of using the keyword here, we can actually just add a condition and choose type. And once you choose type, you can type contains any, and from here you take Copilot activity, and then that's you can also do, let's say, system administrator, and sender other is me, admin. So I choose myself and run the query. Please add a data source. Of course, I will add all people and groups. Let's see. Sorry, I will add, take some time. But in this context, I will add all people and groups in exchange. So that's it. And let's see here, all people and groups by default. And I want to do all company and save and close. And there I have all company, SharePoint Exchange, and then I run the query. This will take a while. While the query is running, I can take you through an example of, yeah, you include the categories, you can include the query keywords. We don't have any, but we just include the categories and we run the query. So that's it. You have created a search for Copilot, and this is active and it's running. This is my last one. So the one we just created is running in the background and I can check it later. So that's how you do e-discovery, and that's how you create the search for Copilot. So let's go to the next one, which is data lifecycle management. So what does this does for you in Copilot data governance? You can configure retention and deletion policies for agent interactions using Purview data lifecycle management. And this also in return gives you the retention policies, which in Purview covers user prompts and responses from Copilot and other generative AI applications. This can be ChatGPT Enterprise. And these interactions, of course, will be treated as compliant relevant messages and can be retained or deleted based on your organizational policy requirement. And guess what the next thing is? Let's create a retention policy. So we'll jump into data retention. Let's see. Once again, jump into data lifecycle management in here, solutions, data lifecycle management, and policies. We have retention policies here, and you can create a new retention policy. Let's call it Copilot. And yes, this, I will not add any administrative unit in this context. And here you can choose if it's static or adaptive. This means that if something gets changed, let's say, for example, SharePoint is added or removed, it won't change by itself. You need to manually update the policy. Adaptive will do this automatically. That's it. And here, I, of course, have not set up pay as you go, but once you set this up, you will have Microsoft Copilot experiences, enterprise AI apps, and other AI apps. And this is the retention policies for those ones. And after you have created this, you will be able to set the retention settings. So I don't have access to that yet, but these three will control all your AI applications. Yes, cancel this. Let's go back to and insider risk management. Of course, insider threats remain as the primary driver of data breaches, and you can mitigate this by putting a lot of data boundaries. You can put a lot of what do I say, sensitivity labels and everything. But again, it comes back to the the people who are using it and how do you monitor this and what flags do you set up, what gets flagged for monitoring. This is something you can set up in here. So let's jump into how you create a policy in insider risk management, because this actually explains this better than a PowerPoint slide. So let's go to solutions, insider risk management, and in here we have the policies. When you create a policy, you have a quick policy and a custom policy. So a quick policy, so I already have a policy which detects whenever a user visits an AI site. So this can be ChatGPT, this can be Gemini, Grok, but I create the policy here, quick policy, and you decide to you can choose the templates from here. And let's say risky AI usage, you get started here. You create the policy, and once you create it, you can actually just go back and customize it. So I will not create it first, I will just customize it so that you can follow through with this timeline. So we have the name with this line, yeah, this, what do I say, step by step thing. And you have some recommendations here, and these three are optional, but Microsoft Purview extension on Edge browser and this is needed, and at least one browsing indicator selected. So let's quickly go through this. Risky AI usage, good. The name, I want it to apply to all my users and adaptive scopes. It will also ask me to exclude some users. I will, of course, want to exclude myself so that I have the freedom to use all the websites I want to use for with generative AI. And what content you want to prioritize. This is also dependent on what you want to do. I will focus on SharePoint sites and sensitivity labels. And from there, you can add and edit SharePoint sites. You can add sensitivity labels. I will add all the confidential sensitivity labels here, and this will be added to what I will be tracking. And I will get alerts for all activity, or you will get alerts for only activity that includes priority content. I would do this for myself because I want to get alerted every time. And then here you choose the triggering events. So what do you want this? How do you want this to trigger? So here, this is, you have to create a policy before this trigger can be used, and you have to do the same here. You have to turn on the indicators. I don't have those on yet, but you can do that, and you will also see that risky or sensitive content in Copilot experiences apps, you need to turn on the indicators. So what indicators do we have? We haven't turned on most of the indicators, but you can do it in your tenant. And you can see here I'm following through with Copilot experiences, and I can receive sensitive response from Copilot, enter risky prompt in Copilot. I've not selected this, but of course I've selected the 0 out of 2, but I can select them all. So I need to turn on the indicators and select them. I have none of them selected, yeah. So I can turn them on and select them. And the next one is finish. So you set this up and you are good to go. So that's how you set this inside a risk policy. And that's it for that. Let's quickly go to communication compliance. What does this do? This actually enables you to do an analysis of the Copilot prompts and the responses. And the goal of doing this is to detect inappropriate or risky behavior or unauthorized sharing of confidential information across generative AI applications in general. So again, let's create the policy. Let's go to communication compliance. You see here, it's a related solution, but I can just go from here and you see the policies here. So you go to policies, create a new policy, and here you can choose what you want to create. So detect Microsoft Copilot interactions, and you customize the policy as usual. Yeah, Copilot interactions and global settings, good. All users. I don't want to exclude anyone, and I will have myself as the reviewer. Because you can have a team that reviews this, and once this is reviewed, yeah, you can choose the location. So it's Exchange, Teams, and Viva Engage. And if you have enterprise apps as ChatGPT or other enterprise AI apps, you can also add that and do this. And from here, you can add the direction. Is it inbound or outbound, or is it internal within between supervisors or user groups in this policy? So I choose all of them in this context to just be as safe as possible. And the conditions, I don't have pay as you go here, but you can do prompt shields, you can have protected materials, you can add trainable classifiers, which can be, for example, sexual violence, hate. You can add all of this. And once those are added, you can also use OCR to extract text from images that are passed to the to the agents. And from that, there you can also filter out email blasts, which means that your emails that match your condition won't generate alert. So that's it. After this, you do check everything, and you percentage to review is everything. And if you want to reduce this to 50, 60, you can do that. But then you create the policy. I will not do that either. Let's do quick go through for the last one, sensitivity labels. So Copilot actually integrates with all the sensitivity labels you have in SharePoint and all the different labels you have in your company. So with that said, let's actually look what happens behind the sensitivity labels. How does Copilot respect and inherit these sensitivity labels? This I will have to take you to the documentation where we see this is said whenever you ask Copilot a question, it uses the Microsoft Graph to access the user accessible data and company data that the user has access to, generates uses the LLM to generate the answer and gives it back to the user. And how does Copilot actually respect the sensitivity labels? As you can see here, Copilot generated items will inherit in the items will have label inheritance. So if this had a sensitivity label that was quite confidential, then this also will have the same. And yeah, that's it for the sensitivity labels. So let's go back to the slides. Yeah, we looked at the architecture. So data loss prevention policies will actually take content with some applied sensitivity label, and this content will be protected from being processed in the response summarization of the M365 Copilot. And you can actually set this up by visiting the, of course, DLP page and using the Microsoft 365 Copilot policy location and apply the content that contains sensitivity labels to exclude. So the excluded items, of course, will still appear in the citation, in the responses, but their content will actually not be used in the summarization. So let's create a DLP policy for Copilot. And back to this again. In here we have the solutions, and we have the data loss prevention. And inside data loss prevention, we actually have the policies, DLP policies, and I can create a policy. And once I'm in here, and I can choose data stored in connected sources. Next, let's see. And specific templates. I don't need templates yet. Custom policy, Copilot. And let's see. Come on, taking some time, but we'll go to the admin units, and then in the locations, we'll actually choose content contains sensitivity label. And let's see, next. It's taking a while. So here I will not do anything yet, but you can add or remove admin units. And let's go to next. Yes, this is where I want it to be. So I will just turn all of this off so that I can just show you what I wanted to show you. This is M365 Copilot. And next, create and custom IES. And I will create a rule that says, let's see, I will create prevent Copilot from actually access, from, let's see, prevent content. And from there, we'll add this action section. So you will see prevent Copilot from processing content. And from, using the content and condition content contains, and let's see, any of this group name default. You can add a lot of different conditions here, and you can see the actions is that Copilot will not process this. And save. Yeah, sensitivity type is required, so we need to add the sensitivity type. Let's see, add sensitivity labels, and I will add all the highly confidential labels here. Quickly, yeah, confidential, and add, save. So Copilot will not actually process the sensitivity, the content with these sensitivity labels, and that's good. Policy mode. It's a turn on the policy immediately if you want to do that, and run the policy in simulation mode if you want to simulate before and see the results. And once you're done, you submit it, and that's your DLP policy, which prevents from Copilot from processing documents or other data sources with the sensitivity labels that you choose to prevent from being processed. Yes, so let's go back to our slides and see where we are. So, oh yes, we are here, DSPM for AI. So this is the hub, as I call it, and we can look at the hub now. You discover, and what you do here is you discover and secure your organization's AI data and activity. So let's just jump into the SPM, confirm. I don't want to create that. So home, and oh, sorry. So I will go from solutions and DSPM for AI. And here you have an overview, activate Purview audit. You will get the recommendations here, extend your insights. You will see the reports and the resources that are there. The recommendations you can deep diver into the recommendations here. The reports will be from all the different activities. So you have Copilot experiences and agents, and you have enterprise AI apps. This is Copilot Studio, Copilot in Fabric, and the M365 Copilot. And here you have ChatGPT, which is enterprise apps and other AI apps that you add. Let's actually do Copilot experiences and agents. So for this, you will see the activities for the last 30 days, and you can view the details. You see which type of Copilot is being used the most. I honestly use a lot of Copilot Studio, and I've been into Copilot Fabric a little bit to set up some Fabric agents, and I can see that being reflected here. So that's good. You can view the details. This will take you to Activity Explorer, which is the next thing we will look at. And here you can see the AI interaction. You can see it's an autonomous type of interaction. It's in Copilot experiences and agents, and the interaction happened in License Pilot. So it's the agent called License Pilot, and you see the default, and it's in the default environment, and it run autonomously. So this is something good. You can see the different, if you want to look at all the autonomous agents, you can look at them from here, which gives you a really good overview of what's happening and where, so that you can look at the agents. Let's see, apps and agents still in preview, but here you get an overview of all the different experiences. So I have Copilot Studio, I have the Copilot experiences and agents. This is M365 Copilot, Fabric, and Security. Let's take a look at Copilot Studio, as I see that there is more usage there. There is more prompts and more responses, and I actually have 14 agents. So the agents, I can see them here, top most 20 recently used agents. And here I see the agent, which I just created some days back, and Fabric data connector, which I used with the Fabric agent. I can look at this. You can export the selected item, but you can also get an overview here when it's being used, peak prompt days for this agent, and prompts sent over time. And you can see the daily prompts. You can see top user activity, how many users, and average prompts per user. That's really cool. But let's go back to the apps again. In Copilot Studio, you can actually see the same thing for Copilot Studio here too. Total active users is 1, total prompt sent is 201, and you can study the rest of the data yourself here. And I do have some policies here. And one of the policies I have on is detect when a user visits AI sites. I wanted to see if this works, and it actually works. So once I opened ChatGPT here in the browser, and there was a warning that I got a warning that the user has accessed a generative AI website. And this is something you set up in the policies. We've done Activity Explorer and data risk. For data risk assessment, you just identify how many, yeah, you identify if there is oversharing, and you can see sensitive data is detected and scanned information for sensitive info types if everything is scanned, and you can see where it's happening. So this is Power Platform testing. All of this is SharePoint, and how many times it's been accessed and how many times it's been scanned. So that's the SPM for AI. It's a quite interesting page, and I recommend you take a look there and have this as a way of monitoring and reporting for your agents. So that's it for the Purview controls. If you have any corrections to this video or any ideas that you want to share, please add them in the comment section. And next, I will actually cover the DLP policies in Power Platform and actually how to control the connectors, because we do have the Copilot connectors, we have the Power Platform connectors, and some other things called real-time connectors that we look into the differences and how we can manage them. So thank you.